Hey, my name's Alex, and today we're looking at the side bend sit rotational reach, which is a natural movement that makes for a great mobility warm-up, but is also a practical sitting transition. This is a bend sit position, and this is a side bend position. If we move between these positions back and forth, we call this a side bend sit reverse. You can do this with your hands free like I'm doing right now, or you can post your hands behind you for a little bit of support. This gives you some support, but it is also something that allows you to engage your shoulder girdle along with your hip movement. So you can turn this into even more of a full body movement. And this is just us looking at the side bend sit reverse. When we're getting into a rotational reach, if we have our hands on the ground, you're letting your trailing arm lift up and wrap around to allow that spinal rotation. Make sure your head's going along with it and you're reaching as far around you as you can with that trailing hand before bringing it back and setting it down as you come back to your bend sit position. Try the other side, letting one hand come off the ground, the trailing hand reaching around you as far as you can, turning your head, extending your neck, unshrugging your shoulders, making sure you're not keeping them up like this, and then coming back to the center. So this is how you do it with your arms posted behind you. But if you want to do it with your hands free, you do your full side bend sit reverse, and then place your hand down when you're trying to reach behind, for the purpose of allowing you to reach a little bit farther. Then before you get back to your bend sit, you let your hand come off the ground, and then you can come up and down on the other side. Only bringing your arm down when you're ready to reach around. And then making sure that you rotate back to your side bend sit, taking your hands off the ground before bringing your arms to the other side, or your legs to the other side, and then reaching back as you roll around. So that's the only difference really. I can transition between the two and alternate between them, but there's good reason to do either one of them. One thing you can do if you have trouble with this, if you really feel like you're being pulled back and you don't want to do the arms bent back one, you want to try the upright one, instead of straining to hold yourself up, try maybe rolling your yoga mat or whatever you have. You move mat if you've got one, which is really nice to have a nice round one. And then you have your hips elevated from your feet a little bit. So that allows you to get a little bit more control of your hip flexion so that you're not using your lower back flexion in order to make up for the lack of hip mobility. You can then engage your hips the way you want to increase your mobilization without creating compensatory mechanisms in your lower back. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.